Did you know that as of today, in early 2026, nearly 1 in 5 American households are officially millionaires? On paper, it sounds like a dream come true and a testament to decades of hard work and disciplined saving. But there is something the headlines and the bank statements are not telling you. They are hiding a truth that could jeopardize everything you have worked for over the last 40 years. They are counting your house, and the last time I checked, you cannot pay for your groceries with your front door. When you strip away the equity in your home, how many people really have enough money to fund a 30-year retirement? The answer is much lower than you think. If you are counting on that $1 million milestone to carry you through your golden years, what I am about to share might completely change your perspective. We are going to peel back the curtain on what it really means to be a millionaire in today's economy. Everyone throws around the statistic that 18 to 20% of households are millionaires. In 2026, that number is no longer the badge of elite wealth it once was. The catch is that your net worth is what experts call a vanity metric. It is a number on a spreadsheet that includes your primary residence, your cars, and even your old furniture. But your house does not send you a paycheck every month. Think about it this way. Imagine you have a paid-off home worth $800,000 and $200,000 sitting in your investment accounts. Technically, you are a millionaire. But if you are using a standard 4% withdrawal rate in retirement, that $200,000 is only generating about $8,000 a year. Try living a comfortable and dignified life on $8,000 a year in this current market. Now look at the opposite scenario. Imagine the same $1 million net worth, but this time you have a $200,000 home and $800,000 in investments. Suddenly, your portfolio is pulling in $32,000 a year. It is the same net worth on paper, but it provides 4 times the actual income. This is why the real question is not how many millionaires there are in America. The real question is, how many people have $1 million in investable assets? Investable assets are the things that can actually grow and generate money for you, without forcing you to sell your home or move into your children's basement. We are talking about your 401k, your individual retirement accounts, and your brokerage accounts. According to the latest data from the Federal Reserve, the median American household has only about $60,000 in investable assets. That is not $60,000 a year. That is $60,000 total for the rest of their lives. When you take the house out of the equation, the middle class is struggling much more than the reports suggest. Wealth in America is heavily concentrated at the very top. The median tells us what the typical family has. And the typical family is not doing great when the house is removed from the calculation. But we are not just talking about everyone. We are talking about you, the retirees, and those approaching retirement. Surely people who have worked for 40 years are in a better position, right? The data shows that for people aged 65 to 69, the median investable net worth is around $250,000. That is better than the overall average, but let us do the math again. At a 4% withdrawal rate, $250,000 generates about $10,000 a year. Even when you add the average Social Security benefit of $24,000, you are looking at $34,000 in total annual income. That is barely enough to cover the essentials in 2026. It is certainly not what most people imagine when they dream of a golden retirement. It is not until you hit the 90th percentile of households that you consistently see investable assets above $2 million. At that elite level, something interesting happens. Home equity becomes a much smaller slice of the total pie. For these wealthy households, only about 20% of their wealth is tied up in their house. The rest is in financial assets that are constantly working, constantly compounding, and constantly providing for them. So, how many retirees actually have $1 million or more in investable assets, excluding their home? The data suggests it is roughly 20%. That means if you have $1 million in investments outside your house, you are doing better than 4 out of 5 of your peers. However, if we look strictly at retirement accounts, like 401k plans or individual retirement accounts, the percentage drops even further. Only about 3% of retirees have $1 million balance in a single tax-advantaged account. Why is there such a massive gap? Part of it is fragmentation. Many people have their money spread across 5 or 6 different accounts from various jobs throughout their career. You might have $400,000 in an old 401k, $300,000 in a savings account, and $300,000 in a brokerage account. Technically, you are an investable millionaire, but because the accounts are scattered, you might not even realize it. This fragmentation makes you invisible in many national statistics because financial institutions only see what you have with them. But there is a bigger problem we need to talk about in 2026. We do not actually have perfect data on how many millionaires there are. Most of our information comes from surveys where people self-report their wealth, and wealthy people are notoriously bad at responding to surveys. They often underreport their assets out of a desire for privacy. The Internal Revenue Service sees your income, but they do not see your total net worth. There is no line on your tax return that asks for the total value of everything you own. This means that wealth in America is often more of a mystery than the government wants to admit. There is also the issue of forgotten wealth. Right now, there are over 30 million abandoned retirement accounts in the United States. These are accounts that people simply forgot about when they changed jobs 10 or 20 years ago. These forgotten accounts hold over $2 trillion collectively. Before you worry about your retirement numbers, you might want to double-check if you have an old account floating around from a previous employer. It could be the missing piece of your puzzle. Now, we have to talk about the reality of what $1 million actually buys in 2026. Money is relative. $1 million in rural Kansas allows you to live like royalty. You can have a paid-off house, a new truck, and zero financial stress. But $1 million in San Francisco or Manhattan is a completely different story. In those cities, you might still be watching your budget at the grocery store. This is what economists call purchasing power parity. A number is meaningless without the context of where you live and what your lifestyle costs. This is the trap that many people fall into. They fixate on hitting the 7-figure mark because it sounds like a milestone. But the number itself tells you nothing about the quality of life you will actually have. In 2026, inflation has made that $1 million goal even more elusive for the average person. So, if the $1 million milestone is somewhat arbitrary, what should you really focus on? The answer is simple. Income, not assets. Focus on the cash flow your investments can generate. Imagine 2 retirees. The first has an $800,000 house and $200,000 in investments. The second has a $200,000 house and $800,000 in investments. They both have a $1 million net worth. But the second person has 4 times the retirement income. Which one would you rather be? The lesson here is to flip your thinking. Do not ask how much you need to save. Ask how much income you need your investments to produce every single month. If you need $5,000 a month from your investments and you follow a 4% rule, you need $1.5 million. The number should serve your life, not the other way around. Another major factor in 2026 is the rising cost of healthcare. Studies now show that a retired couple might need over $350,000 just to cover medical expenses throughout their retirement. If you have $1 million total, and 1/3 of it is destined for doctors and hospitals, Your margin for error is very thin. This is why you need a strategy that protects your principal while still allowing for growth. One of the most effective strategies is what we call the bucket system. The first bucket is for your immediate needs. This should hold 2 years' worth of cash in a safe and liquid account. This protects you from having to sell your stocks when the market is down. The second bucket is for mid-term stability, focusing on bonds and income-producing assets. The third bucket is for long-term growth, where you keep your stocks to outpace inflation over the next 20 years. This system ensures that you always have cash on hand, while still participating in the market's growth. Many people also struggle with what we call lifestyle creep. As your income grew during your working years, your spending likely grew right along with it. You bought the bigger house, the nicer cars, and the expensive vacations. These things make life enjoyable today, but they can be a massive anchor during retirement. Maintaining a large and expensive home that you no longer need is one of the fastest ways to drain a $1 million portfolio. In 2026, downsizing has become a strategic move for many savvy retirees. Selling a large family home and moving to a smaller and more efficient residence can instantly unlock hundreds of thousands of dollars in investable assets. It reduces your taxes, your insurance, and your maintenance costs all at once. It is the quickest way to turn a paper net worth into a functional retirement income. You also have to consider the role of Social Security. In 2026, Social Security remains the backbone of retirement for most Americans. The average benefit is now around $2,000 per month. For a married couple, that is $48,000 a year in guaranteed and inflation-adjusted income. When you combine that with a well-managed investment portfolio, the picture starts to look much brighter. The key is to wait as long as possible to claim your benefits. Every year you wait past your full retirement age increases your monthly check by 8%. This is essentially a guaranteed return that you cannot find anywhere else in the market. It is often better to spend down some of your private savings early in retirement to allow your Social Security benefit to grow to its maximum level. The truth is, most of the statistics you see in the news are just educated guesses. The government does its best to track wealth, but they are working with incomplete data. What matters is not the national average or what your neighbor has. What matters is your specific number. Your number is the amount of money required to live the life you actually want. Maybe you do not need $1 million. Maybe you are retiring to a lower-cost area, where $600,000 and Social Security provide a kingly lifestyle. Or maybe you need $5 million because you want to travel internationally 3 times a year. Neither is right or wrong. The goal is clarity. Stop measuring yourself against headlines that are designed to provoke anxiety. Take a deep breath and look at your own balance sheet. How much of your wealth is tied up in your home? How much is in accounts that you can actually spend? If you find that you are house rich but cash poor, now is the time to make a change. 2026 is a year of opportunity for those who are willing to be honest about their finances. The second million always comes faster than the first because of the power of compounding. Once you have your first million in investable assets, the money starts doing the heavy lifting for you. A 10% return on $1 million is $100,000 a year. That is like having a second person in your household working a high-paying job for free. This is why the first few years of saving are the hardest. You are the only one doing the work. But eventually, your money takes over. If you stay consistent, stay disciplined, and ignore the noise, you will reach a point where your wealth grows faster than you can spend it. That is the true definition of financial freedom. It is not about being a millionaire on a piece of paper. It is about having the peace of mind to know that your future is secure. You have worked hard for 40 years. You have sacrificed, you have planned, and you have dreamed. Now make sure your assets are aligned with those dreams. Focus on the investable assets, manage your cash flow, and protect your health. If you do those things, you will be just fine, regardless of what the national statistics say. Because at the end of the day, retirement is about people, not just numbers. It is about spending time with your family, pursuing your hobbies, and enjoying the fruits of your labor. Trust your plan, track your progress, and live your life. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind. Is it a large house that your children will have to sell and pay taxes on? Or is it the financial security that allows you to be present for every birthday and every graduation? In early 2026, the economic landscape is shifting rapidly. Interest rates and market volatility mean that the old rules no longer apply. You must be proactive, and you must be informed. Take control of your investable assets today. Do not wait for a headline to tell you that the market has shifted. Build your buckets and secure your cash flow. Then you can sit back and truly enjoy the retirement you have earned. The journey to your first million was a long climb up a steep mountain. But the view from the top is only worth it if you have a plan to stay there. Your investable assets are your oxygen at this altitude. Protect them, and they will protect you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope this has given you the clarity you need to move forward with confidence. Until next time, take care and keep building your future.